The trees whisper. The wind was sharp against Violet's skin as she hurried through the woods, her boots crunching over the fallen leaves. It was the kind of evening when shadows stretch long, and the cold air made her breath hang in the air like mist. She wasn't exactly sure why she had come here. Perhaps it was instinct, a strange, almost magnetic pull that had led her down this path. But she had come all the same. The deep forest whispered of ancient secrets, and tonight, it seemed to promise something more, something she couldn't ignore. Violet had always been curious, a young woman with an unquenchable thirst for the unknown. People in her small village often found her eccentric, sometimes a bit odd, with her vivid dreams of other worlds, her obsession with the stars, and the way she would often look at the trees as though they were alive. Maybe they were. Who could say? But what truly set her apart was the one thing she had never told anyone, the thing that filled her dreams and shaped her reality. She wasn't alone. Not really. She had a presence in her life, something that was there in the corner of her eye, always just out of reach. A whisper in the dark, a soft voice in her ear, telling her to trust, to listen. It was a mystery she couldn't shake, and it had led her here, to the edge of the forest where things didn't quite make sense. Tonight, she had come to meet someone, though who or what that someone was, she wasn't entirely sure. The invitation had been strange, a letter, no name on the front, but the words had been clear. Meet me at the old tree at midnight. You will understand then. She had come, of course. What else could she do? What else could anyone do when the universe whispered a call like that? So here she was, standing in front of the massive oak tree, its gnarled roots twisting like serpents beneath the ground. The tree was ancient, older than the village itself, and its presence was imposing. Even now, as the wind howled through its branches, the tree seemed to stand perfectly still, as if waiting for her. It was then she saw him, an old man, sitting under the tree, his eyes closed as though he were meditating. His clothes were weathered, and his hands were rough, calloused from a life of hard work. But it wasn't his appearance that caught her attention. It was the air about him, something calm and knowing, something that made her feel both afraid and comforted at the same time. You came, the old man said, his voice rough but soft, as though it had been shaped by years of experience. I don't know why, Violet replied, her words a whisper carried away by the wind. She didn't understand why she was there. She had no reason to be. The man smiled faintly, his eyes opening slowly. That's all right. Sometimes, the answers find us when we least expect them. She stood still, unsure of what to do next, feeling the weight of his words settle in the space between them. You're searching for something, he said, but not in the way you think. What you seek is already inside you, waiting to be discovered. And the path you must walk won't be easy, but it will change you. Violet shivered, not from the cold, but from the sense of foreboding that hung in the air. What do you mean? I don't understand. The old man raised a hand, pointing to the tree. Do you see it? He asked. The tree learns to renew itself by letting the old fall. Violet turned her gaze to the oak. The branches swayed gently, the leaves fluttering to the ground, covering the earth in a blanket of gold. It was a beautiful sight, and for a moment, she felt a deep connection to the tree, as though it were alive in a way she couldn't comprehend. But the man's words echoed in her mind. Letting the old fall, she repeated, as though trying to understand the weight of the phrase. It seemed so simple, yet so profound. Yes, the man said, his voice steady. The tree understands that to grow, it must let go. It sheds its leaves, its old self, to make room for something new. It does this every year, without hesitation, without fear. And so it is with us. You cannot hold on to what is already gone, Violet. You must let go. The words stung in a way that surprised her. She wasn't sure why, but they did. The cold wind swept through the trees, rustling the leaves, and for a moment, she felt as though the world around her was alive, breathing in time with her own heart. I don't know if I can, Violet whispered. What if I let go of everything, and there's nothing left? What if the pieces I need are gone forever? The old man regarded her quietly, his gaze soft but piercing. The thing about letting go, Violet, is that you make room for new things. You make room for the unknown, for the possibility of something greater. But you must trust in the process, in the renewal. It's not about forgetting. It's about evolving, growing, finding your way forward, even when the path seems dark. Tears filled Violet's eyes as she thought of the past, the people she had loved and lost, the dreams she had once held so tightly to. They had all slipped through her fingers like sand. Was this what he meant? Was it time to let go? You're not alone, the old man said, his voice warm with understanding. There is more to this world than you can see, more than what you understand. And sometimes, the things we fear are the very things that will save us. Violet looked at him, her breath catching in her throat. There was something about his words that made her heart ache, something that stirred the depths of her soul. She had always been afraid of the unknown, afraid of what lay beyond the familiar. But now, standing here under the great oak tree, she felt something change within her. The fear that had gripped her for so long began to loosen, just a little, like the first crack in a dam. But how do I know if I'm ready? She asked, her voice trembling. The man smiled again, his expression gentle. You'll know. The answer will come when the time is right. All you must do is listen. A silence fell between them, broken only by the sound of the wind rustling the leaves. Violet stood there, staring at the old man, as though waiting for something more, something she couldn't quite explain. And then it happened. The world around her seemed to shift, the air growing thick with a strange energy. The tree before her seemed to pulse, its branches swaying in a rhythm that didn't match the wind. A soft whisper, almost like a song, filled the air, and Violet's heart raced. She couldn't understand the words, but somehow, she knew they were meant for her. Let go, the voice whispered, gentle but firm. With a sudden clarity, Violet understood. The time had come. She closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the past fall away from her like the leaves of the tree. She didn't need to carry it anymore. She didn't need to hold on to the things that had once defined her. She could be something new. She could be free. When she opened her eyes, the world seemed different. The air was lighter, the trees brighter, as though the very landscape had transformed with her. The old man was gone, his presence faded like a dream upon waking. But the tree remained, its branches reaching toward the sky. And Violet knew, deep in her soul, that this was only the beginning. She turned away from the tree and walked toward the path, her heart lighter than it had ever been. The future was unknown, but it was hers to create. There was no fear in her now, only the promise of growth, of renewal. And as she walked, she couldn't help but feel that the universe was watching over her, guiding her steps, and that she was no longer alone. The wind carried her forward, and she embraced it.